In case you are joining us, this is Sports Chat, and I'm Robin Toskin, and I'm talking to Jonathan Komen, our athletics reporter, and we've been talking about the cross-country championship that is going to be held on February 13th at the Ngong Racecourse. And of course, on Friday, the National Police Service held their trials, as well as the KDF at the Moi Air Base in Eastleigh. They also held their trials, and the names that came through are the usual suspects: Geoffrey Kamworor for the police, and Kibot Kandie for the Kenya Defence Forces, Helen Obiri for Kenya Defence Forces, Sheila Chelangat for the National Police Service. That will serve up a very competitive, contest between the discipline forces. And we had promised that we could have Helen Obiri joining us, but so far she hasn't, because she had said that she was going for a morning run. We had tried to persuade her just to lay off a bit so that she appears on this show. But that is the discipline of the athletes, Jonathan Komen. They will not do anything, to jeopardize their training regime. That speaks a lot about the discipline of athletes.
First of all, here is the discipline of the athlete and the discipline of our military. Here, Obiri has a training program. She has to stick to it. That has been drawn by her manager and the coach. So she has to stick to it. And remember very well, apart from that one, she also has to report to the coach, Kenya Defence Forces, so it is not an easy task. And then losing training for a day means a lot for an athlete.
But this is only 30 minutes, Komen.
No. The mileage has been calculated. Doskin, you must understand. The coaches do a very strict program that you should not actually break in between. So I think that is what Obiri would be doing. Me, I love to forgive Obiri because I understand what it means. And what it means to stay true to the program and stick to it so well.
The kind of thing that we've seen with Eliud Kipchoge, the world record holder in the marathon, he always talks about discipline. That if you cannot deny your body, if you cannot train your body, then you cannot achieve anything.
For Kipchoge, discipline is something so exceptional. Kipchoge never joined the discipline process. He's just a civilian, but the kind of discipline he has exhibited over the years is wonderful. This is a guy who does the training in Kaptagat, just goes to the room, sleeps, takes his time to rest, and then whenever he goes to Eldoret town, he goes straight to where he wants, and then gets back home. You'll never find him roaming around in town like some other athletes. He's a very disciplined man.
There was a day we wanted to talk to him, and we tried calling Eliud Kipchoge and most of these athletes, but then they wouldn't pick up their phones. Later on, they pick up, they call, they tell you, oh, I was sleeping. How important is sleep, Jonathan?
It's not sleeping. They call it recovery. Yeah, that is the language they use in athletics.
Recovery.
Recovery, yeah. So they have to take their time to recover for some few hours, and then just walk around, take a light meal, and prepare for an evening jog. Yeah.
Interesting. Now, I would like to shift gears a little bit. It's still within the athletics. Japan have said that they are determined to go ahead with the Olympic Games come end of, that's July 23rd through to August, the early weeks of August. Do you think Japan have a reason to want to continue with these games amid the coronavirus pandemic, Jonathan?
So far, so good. I think the COVID-19 cases, I think all over the world have been on a decline. As if you look at the graph, it's not as huge as it used to be sometimes last year. I think it was last week when Japan and the International Olympic Committee announced that they are going to host the event. I'm pretty sure that they have assessed the situation, and it could be good for the global stage, for the global sports to stage the event. For one, this is an event that they have invested a lot in terms of money since they won the bid. So I think they really want to ensure that they host the event and stage a successful one. That's a day they stated in 1960, I think. Yeah,
in terms of preparation, of course, Kenya has also invested a lot. The National Olympic Committee of Kenya has been giving federation grants to enable them, prepare for qualifications and all that. I don't know, you've been following the preparations. Which Are the athletes, gearing up for national trials to ensure that they pick up the tickets, especially those who had not already qualified?
Yeah, of course. You understand, Olympics is, I think, the second biggest sport in the world after the FIFA World Cup. And no athlete would love to miss the Olympics. So if you look at our National Olympic Committee led by Dr. Paul Tergat, the other day they visited the Global Sports Training Camp in Kaptagat, and they also went to Kapside, where a majority of the world-beating athletes train, maybe to give them some support in terms of training.
Komen, do you have to say world-beating? Kenyans are really excited about us beating the world.
Of course, we are the athletic superpower. Yeah. If we lose a race, maybe, or a title or a record to Joshua Cheptegei, there is no problem. The records are there to be broken, and I can tell you that such records may not last. Yeah.
But then we have to show the world that we are good at that.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. About 2 weeks ago, we spoke to Eliud Kipchoge, and he was concerned that there are no races for him, to compete before the Olympic Games. But then he's in the team to defend his title that he won in Rio 2016. Have you been following up on what he's doing, especially his training?
Of course, he's locked up in training in Kaptagat, and I believe that he's doing well. So far, so good, and is knowing very well that he's in the team. I think he's now preparing very well to ensure that he secures his title, and then given that even also age is also coming up, you never know, maybe he's planning to retire, so he has to retire with an Olympic medal, which is very good. Yeah.
But then the team was named a long time ago, just before the games were postponed last year.
Yes.
Do you think these athletes now will be affected mentally in terms of, preparing? Because you've been naming the team, you've not run for all 1 year, now you'll be required to go back to training. Do you think that will affect our athletes?
I don't think. For one, if look at last year, the COVID-19 was, the COVID-19 disrupted all activities from around February on until October, when we had the London Marathon. And then how many records fell in 2020? There are quite a number of records that fell. That means athletes were training and they were in good shape and they were focused. So I also believe the same will happen this year. Most of the athletes are training. If you could see some of the fast cross-country races, the level of competition was very high. That tells you that the athletes are ready, and they are ready for the 2021 season, which is the Olympic Games.
Yeah, I want to ask you this question. It's very touchy. The Olympic champion in 3,000 steeplechase, that is Conseslus Kipruto. Do you think he'll be ready for the games?
Now, that's a legal matter, because he's facing he has a court case, which I don't know what the judge will rule, because you never know. So we don't know, but I hope he's preparing, just so that he's mentally prepared for the event, because he has not been denied a visa or anything. We hope he will be in the team.
So this will be the first time when we'll be going to the Olympics. Not sure about 3,000 steeplechase, or do we have other names that are coming up?
Yeah, let me take you back a little bit. That the 3,000 meter steeplechase we've been winning over the years, but if you look at the cup, the Ethiopians mostly have been closing on the cup. I remember very well in 2019 World Championships in Doha, Conseslus Kipruto just won by the thickness of his shirt, of his vest. So I think Coach Julius Kirwa, who is the Athletics Kenya head coach, has to scout the best talent. We have Benjamin Kigen. He's also a potential athlete. There is still Cyrus Kipchoge Birech, and among others. If we prepare them, we still dominate the steeplechase. I don't think there is no need to worry. We only need to be focused and prepare well.
Yeah, 800 meters, the Olympic champion, that is David Rudisha, is far from, getting back to the track. Do you think 800 meters we don't have hope going to Tokyo? Or we have other names that are coming through?
There is still an athlete like the Commonwealth Games champion, Wycliffe Kinyamal. There is the prisoners guy called Kipruto. Still, Ferguson Rotich is still there. And if you look at even the opposition, looking at Nichel Amos of Botswana. He has not also competed. So we cannot say that because Rudisha may not be in, we might lose. No, that should not be the case. For one, even the opposition, they are not also well prepared. So we have to still emerge under their noses.
Yes.
Yeah.
1,500 meters, Faith Chemgetich is as strong as ever. Have you been following her?
Faith is still very strong. And I've been following, she's still training very well. And even the management, she trains under Jos Amens of the Netherlands. That is the Global Sports Communications. That's the same management with Eliud Kipchoge. She's still focused and is still training very well. I have no problem with that one.
3,000 steeplechase women. I saw Beatrice Chepkoech. She was in, that was Karlsruhe, Germany, over the weekend. Towards the end of last week.
Yes.
How was her performance? You followed?
Yeah, I followed the performance. You saw Beatrice, she just won by a very wide margin. There is still Evan Kieng, the 2015 world champion. She was second at the police cross-country championships. That tells you something. So we are okay.
Yeah, because I saw also Ivan Kieng in the dark cross-country for the police. It's a very, very, encouraging to see her back, running. And also this self-in-chase pole in 3,000 meters steeplechase. I don't know if you've also been following their training, especially Selvin, who has been out of action for some time now.
Selvin have not been, he has disappeared up the radar for some time because even the People's Championship she never competed in. So I don't know aside, but she's still a very young athlete, talented and experienced. Given the fact that in 3 years ago, she was the fastest steeplechaser in history for the women. So I think, and she's well below 25. So Selvin Jespol can still come up very strongly.
Okay. When it comes to javelin, when you mention javelin, everyone just remembers Julius Yego. How is he in shape? Is he training? Kenyans would like to know, how is he doing?
Yeah, I spoke to Yego a few days ago. He's training very well. He's picking up, and he was among the athletes who benefited from the grants from National Olympic Committee, and I hope he's performing very well. Given the fact that he's been a world champion, he still has the Olympic silver from Rio. Yes. He is a Commonwealth Games champion. So Yego, and he's still a very young man, he can still
with compete. A big heart, of course.
Of course,
a very confident person.
Of course.
But what about Alexander Kiprotich, the second best javelin thrower in Kenya? Have you been following up on what he's doing?
Okay, for this year I have not been following aside, but Alexander Kiprotich is also another very good drawer. If we join forces with Yego, I think we won't miss a medal at the Olympic Games in Tokyo.
Yes. Let's talk about briefly the 5,000 meters men and 10,000. Of course, we just said that Kibiwott Kandie would like to step down to go to 10,000 meters and fight it out and to see if he can get the ticket to Tokyo. Of course, we've seen how, a tenacious athlete he is. But in 5,000 meters, apart from Yosei, do we have any other person?
Yeah, in 5,000 meters, we would also expect some of the guys who are in 1,500 meters to step up to 5,000 because that is the exit route to road race. So I think we should not say aside that we may not produce the best athletes in 5,000 meters. I think, given that in 5,000 meters at the Olympics in 2016, none of the Kenyans appeared in the final, so it's still something worrying.
And finally, my favorite 800 meters runner, of course, Ferguson Rotich, the man who also was really giving Rhodesia that competition. I don't know how he's doing. Just before the coronavirus, he was hitting the top form.
He competed at the Athletics Kenya Relays 2 weeks ago at the Nyayo National Stadium here in Nairobi, and he looked very strong. He exhibited a lot of, he was some kind of the composure of a veteran athlete, and we expect to focus only that Ferguson Rotich is not a good championship athlete. He's very good in the Diamond League series. So we expect, maybe the coach would have adjusted to ensure that he can manage the first round, the semi-final, and the final. I think you understand very well the difference between the Diamond League and championships. In Diamond League, it's a straight final. But championships, you have to go to the first round, the semi-final, and the final. Yeah.
Yeah, well, all Kenyans are watching the National Olympic Committee, in terms of the preparation of the national team, that is Team Kenya, to the Olympic Games. It's been very difficult because of the COVID-19 situation, but of course the National Olympic Committee has been offering grants to athletes to train, and especially those who have been selected, and that really offers hope. I've been talking to Jonathan Komen, our reporter, who has really dissected several issues, and I would like at this point to thank Jonathan Komen for the tremendous work he's done over the weekend, and especially the coverage of the KDF and Kenya National Police Service cross country. And he has even told us that on February 13, there'll be fireworks at Ngong Racecourse, where the national trials, the grand championship, will be taking place. Of course, there's the COVID situation. I don't know if Athletics Kenya will allow fans to go there and catch a glimpse of what the kind of battle that will be between the defense forces and the national police. And I can see now my colleagues, Jesse Rogers is here and Trix Ingado. Guys, in sports, we don't have debts. We don't have to tell anyone to pay up debts. I don't know. For you guys, have you paid your debts?
Yeah. But you know what you have in sports? Passing the baton.
Yeah. Passing the baton. Yeah, that happens really. And that's where we've been talking about athletics, the transition. Tricks.
Very interesting, very interesting. Passing the baton actually could apply very well in politics. They should reconsider that principle. But thank you so much, Robin Toskin, for updating us on what's happening in sports. Thank you so much, our viewers, for tuning in. See you tomorrow, same place, same time. My name is Trix Ingano. Have yourself a fantastic day ahead.
And my name is Jesse Rogers. Always a pleasure to get to kickstart your morning in style. Goodbye for now.
And until next Monday, please keep it KTN.